welcome to the SBP podcast, Mobile Filmmaking, episode 81. I am your host, Susie Botello. In today's episode, the first prize winner of the 2020 International Mobile Film Festival's short film competition is with us. Tom Pardo is in Nice, France. His film Submerged is a story that takes place on the ground and beneath the ocean. You will listen to Tom discuss the challenges of filming under the ocean with his iPhone. But Tom also discusses why he decided to become a filmmaker and use his iPhone to make his film. He and I discussed his film's messaging and storyline, and we discussed how the decisions that he made in post-production were part of the creative storytelling process. The official International Mobile Film Festival in San Diego opens the call for film submissions on June 19th. If you or someone you know has ever used or is using a smartphone camera to shoot movies, we have two competitions that you or they can participate in. The short film competition is between 1 and 5 minutes and has many categories from cosplay to fully mobile on your phone and geography, community stories, mobile journalism, kids, more, lots more. So if you have a feature-length film, we also have another competition, a separate competition from the short film competition, and that's a lot of competition. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge that we introduced in 2016 to make feature-length films. And the maximum length for feature-length films has been raised this year from 90 minutes to 120 minutes for 2021. That's like 2 hours. Well, that's not like 2 hours. That actually is 2 hours. So make a full-length feature film on your smartphone and get the details on our website at internationalmobilefilmfestival.com and get your films ready to submit on June 19th.
My name is Jamil Lawrence, and I am a choreographer and mobile filmmaker based in Glasgow, UK. Entering the International Mobile Film Festival was outside my regular comfort zone of the dance community, and so I entered really not knowing what to expect. Even though the festival moved online due to COVID, I made contacts and online friendships that will be invaluable to my work going forwards, and winning a prize in the short film category was the real icing on the cake. I'm already benefiting from this recognition in both the dance community and my new online presence in filmmaking, so thank you International Mobile Film Festival 2020.
Hey everybody, I am here and I welcome you to Nice, France, where the recipient for the first prize award for the International Mobile Film Festival in San Diego this year is in right now because he lives there. He won this award for his film, a short film called Submerged, and I now introduce you to Tom Pardo. Hi, Tom.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Susie.
Hi. First of all, again, congratulations for winning the top prize for the short film competition.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do you have an acceptance speech that you'd like to give? Any special thank yous for the award?
Oh, I didn't prepare one, but I guess I would thank first the International Mobile Film Festival for giving me this prize. It's a huge honor, and it's my first festival experience, actually.
Oh.
So it's a big thing for me, and it was my first film as well, my first short film. And I was really happy to do it, and I would like to thank also my team behind the film, the actress, Eva André, who did a fantastic job, even though she wasn't an actress, and also Fabien Laquet, who did the sound on the film on set. So yeah, and all the mixing, coloring team as well.
Tom, your film, one of the things that I should tell your audience, I mean, it's called Submerged. And speaking about being submerged, part of your film, the last part of your film at least, takes place underwater in the
Yeah.
ocean.
Yes.
I have to tell you what I really thought was very interesting. That I know that when things are underwater, right, they don't just stay there.
Yes.
They
No.
move around
They
a
don't.
lot.
They move around. For
Yeah.
sure.
So I wanted to know your shots now. Were you were behind the camera?
Yes, I was, and I had also another person who did the deep underwater shots because I couldn't go deep enough. I was like a novice in the sport,
Yeah.
and I did a training for maybe a few days to get to know how hold your breath and how do you call that, equalize your ears.
Yes, the
And
pressure.
I could, yeah, exactly, and I couldn't go far enough for the long shots in the film, so I asked the Eva's best friend who is like a professional diver, to go there for me and do it. So I explained to him how I want the shot, and he did it. So yeah, it was really huge help for me as well.
So one of the things that I was really impressed with was, like I was saying, things move around a lot underwater, and the water, is. I mean, I guess you could think of it like in the wind, like a leaf in the wind, where it moves you around, and the water kind of does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you either you have to do one or two things. You put the camera down with an artificially, right, with something that's physically holding it down, that weighs down. But I'm imagining with a mobile phone that you didn't do that. Obviously, you were behind the camera. How did you hold
No,
yourself? Were you wearing a belt, a weight belt, or something?
absolutely not. We just had our swimming, how do you call it, swimming short,
Yeah.
and we just went down, we dive into the sea, and we had a stabilizer with an iPhone. So
Yeah.
we just needed to go with the stabilizer deep enough, and then when we were deep enough, go back up a bit, and then start shooting. So it was
Okay.
first diving deep, and then go a little bit back up to stabilize, and then start shooting.
Wow. And did the stabilizer, I didn't know you could use a stabilizer underwater like that. Did that hold up pretty well?
Yeah, it's good. Actually, it's a brand called Vastec, and they do a lot of equipment for phones to shoot underwater, and it's really, really nice. And they have this big stabilizer to grip, and we used it to stabilize everything, and it was perfect. We didn't need to smooth anything during post. We just had to use that, and it was already perfect to stabilize.
Very, very cool. So you were using like an actual handy cam type thing, not a gimbal.
No, no, actually, just a regular grip, and we had a button on the right side that allowed us to start shooting. So we would push a button and then start shooting, and then push again to stop shooting. So it was really cool equipment. It wasn't a gimbal, just a regular grip.
Nice.
Yeah.
And why don't you share a little bit with our listeners? Sorry to get all technical right off the bat. It was just really interesting
Mm.
to talk to someone who shot their film underwater. My father was a scuba diver.
Oh, really?
And yes, and he used to take a lot of not videos, but he would take his, his SLR, not DSLR camera. He was also a photographer, and he would take his camera down and put it in a plastic case and go diving, and then he would pet eels and things like that. He was crazy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. That's
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, so he would get photos of, he was always looking for sharks. He thought sharks were like going to be friends of his. Like I said, he was a little, not your typical person underwater who usually gets a little scared. But I shouldn't say that. Most scuba divers look for sharks and stuff, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we had doing on set. We actually shot the underwater scene one afternoon, and then we tried the week after that another couple of shots. We wanted to have more, and actually we couldn't shoot because the sea was infested with jellyfish, like
Oh,
jellyfish everywhere. So we tried for like a few minutes to start shooting in these conditions, but it wouldn't work. And actually, at some point, Eva was going back up, and I saw like a small jellyfish right like a few inches in front of her face. So I said, like, let's just cut it. Let's just stop it now and do the cut with what we have already. So yeah.
I was in Italy one time watching his little raft while he went down under, in the ocean. And a jellyfish came up, and it was bigger than the raft.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's surrounded, so it came up under, and part of it was surrounding. Like if I would have jumped into the water, I would have jumped right into this jellyfish. It was huge.
wow. But apparently, the jellyfish, the smaller they are, the more dangerous they are, I think. I'm not sure. Huh? I'm not an expert, but I think if it's really small, it can be very dangerous. Like, I think in Australia, there's like a brand of jellyfish, right? It's really dangerous and really small as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess it can be surprising to see like a giant jellyfish in front of you when you're going in the water.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, don't eat
I
me,
can
please.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, what gave you the idea? Well, actually, first, again, share a little bit about the synopsis, the premise of your film.
So it's the story is about a girl or a woman who is trapped into the sounds of her city. So she's living in a city with a lot of sounds, a lot of things going on. And it can be really stressful. And she tries to escape that by going into the sea and diving. Because when I talked to divers before starting shooting, they told me a lot that diving, free diving, allowed them to escape from the daily life and escape from the stress, escape from everything. So I thought it was an interesting idea to use sound as like a stressful component, and then use diving scene to be like a more cool, peaceful part of the film. And I was actually in London before shooting. I was living there, and every day I would take the tube to go to work, and there was so many sounds, so many people packed in the same place. It was really stressful every day, and I really, really want when I go back to Nice the art of freediving, because I think diving was born in Nice actually. There's a lot of people practicing there, and they all talked about how much it would improve their life by just going away from the stressful, daily life. So I think that's why I wanted to do this film. I just wanted to have an experience of how it can be dreamy, magical, and really relaxing way of escaping our lives in a way.
Did you there was no dialogue in the film, but did you you wrote a script for it, and you had all these different sounds that you captured
Yep.
throughout her walk, and did you capture that with the phone or external sound or recording it, or how did you do that?
So we had a sound engineer on set, and he would capture a few sounds. So we had the sound from the tramway, the sounds from the coast, small bits of sound, and then during the mixing stage, I asked my sound designer to add more sounds. So basically took the sounds we had from set and then added a few more after that. So we had like a really rich sound experience. And so it was a mix between recording on set and during the mixing stage, we added a few more SFX.
Yeah, so you had different layers of sounds in
Yes,
your.
exactly. Yeah, and actually during the tramway scene, all the sounds you hear are basically the sound engineer took a few recordings we had and combined them to make it even more louder and stressful. And after that, we added like the sound of like a crying baby, obviously because we couldn't record on set a baby somewhere to record the screamings. So we
Right.
just used like a SFX on his library to add more layers and more layers every time.
Wow. Yeah, it was, and it was her perspective.
Yeah, exactly. When I talked to Eva the first time, she told me that exactly the same thing, that freediving allowed her to escape from that because she hated the sound as well. And she couldn't sometimes, support that. So she was really happy to do this film because in a way she thought that it was like a perfect fit for her. She understood the story behind it, so she was happy to do it.
And when you selected Ava, her name is Ava Andre, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When you selected her for the part, did you have tryouts, or how did that work?
Actually, no, because the funny story is that the first time I went to Nice, I went to this diving training camp, and I just say, "Hey, I'm doing a film. I'm looking for who want to do like this few shots in the water. Is anybody okay with that?" And I talked to a girl. She was named Leah, and she told me, "Yeah, I can do it." So we talked like, for a few days about that, and after I think 2 weeks before shooting, she told me she couldn't do it because she was about to do the world competition in September in Nice, uh, diving competition, and she told me, "I know a friend. She's doing also freediving, and I can introduce you to her." And I talked to Eva that way. We met and we really got along. So she agreed to do the film.
Very, very cool. And you didn't
Yeah.
you didn't lose her anywhere in the water, right?
No, no, no. No, no, no. That's fine. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Actually, we were her, me, and her boyfriend. He's like a professional diving instructor, so he helped me for some shots to do it because I couldn't go far enough sometimes. We didn't go that far. I think the maximum uh, deep we did was like maybe I don't know in feet. I know in meters, but it's like 7 or 8 meters. So that would be, I don't know actually. I can't tell you in feet how much it
Yeah,
is,
I
but this
couldn't
was,
either. I'm horrible at that.
yeah.
At
But
that.
it's like if you check it on Google, it's like 7 or 8 meters. So we can do the
Right.
convert. So yeah, we are free on set for these shots.
It from my point of view, it kind of looked like it was somewhere around 20 feet.
That was the goal, yeah, to make it look like it was deeper than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Actually, at 20 meters, you can't see anything almost. So when I asked Eva, "Oh, do you think we can do like for 20 or 40 meters?" She was like, "No, we can't do that because you can't go that far like this. Like it takes preparation and just like a lot of focus." And she told me also that you couldn't see anything at 20 meters, so you better go to 7 or 8 just to catch the blue of the ocean,
Yeah.
of the sea. So yeah, yeah. But my goal at the beginning was to go the deepest we can go, and she told me we can do that because you won't see anything on your shots at all. So
Yeah. Well, and also there's some days when the water is really, really clear, and other days when it's not, when it's murkier. Certain times of the day also clouds, believe it or not, affect that. But But you had some
Yeah.
nice shots with the rays of the sun, the glittering with their movement. And I know I could tell that you enhanced some of that in post production. But let me ask you this. How many shots how much footage did you capture before that you had to select from? Did you capture a lot and then just choose these ones, or were these sort of, I don't know how I'm asking the question, but I think you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for it depends, but I think for the breathing scene, we did maybe 5 or 6 takes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a big believer in doing like 30 takes and then selecting the best one in post. I prefer to say, okay, let's do a few, and then when I really think we got it, I just say, okay, let's move on. So for each scene, it was maybe 3 or 4 takes, and then moving on to the next shot.
And,
So
and then
yeah,
each scene was about well, for the underwater scenes, how long was each take for you?
so that took a bit more time because we had to prepare the camera, and we had actually issues with like an app to record. So we used the native camera of the phone to take the shots, and every time I had to explain when I didn't do the shot myself, I explained to Eva's boyfriend, okay, you have to dive at around 7-8 meters, and then go back a bit up, stabilize. And I want this long shot of her where you are moving forward her at the same time, and then you let her go back up without you going up as well. You have to stay on the same place and stay focused on where you're shooting. So I had to explain every time what I want, and if it was not the way we wanted to, we had to explain again a bit more. So it took a bit more time. I think it took 4 or 5 hours to shoot everything. And
Okay.
for the long shot, we had, I think, 4 takes, something like that, because every time they had to be on the same level. So if I was diving and Gilles, the boyfriend, had to be at the same height in a way, and then not move, and we smoothly move forward towards her. And it took a bit of time to calibrate everything.
Yeah,
But
because you had to establish continuity throughout the footage.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes the blue was a different shade of blue, so we try to be on the same angle, because I think you can see a bit of the sun. What do you call it? Sun flares, I
Yes,
guess.
the
Yeah,
the
sun
rays
flares.
of the sun.
Exactly. Yeah, the rays of the sun behind her. So we try to keep the same angle every time. But like you said before, things are moving underwater, so
Hmm.
sometimes that's not really working. So we had to try again.
Did you find that easy in post production while you're editing to put those scenes together, or I mean, obviously it worked great because you won, but I'm just
Well, to be honest, it was I didn't reinvent the film in post. I just kept the narrative I had from the beginning on my script. So when I wrote it, I wrote all the sounds, I wrote all the scenes would transition to from one to the next, and it was pretty straightforward because I had just to follow the script, and I had only 4 or 5 takes for each shot, so it was pretty fast, yeah, to do the cut. I think the biggest work we had to do was on the sound side. So after I did first the picture cut. So I start cutting only the picture and no sound, and then after the picture was done, I went to the sound part, and that took a long time because I had to find the best sounds
yeah.
and combine them in the best way, and it took a long time to do that.
Yeah, usually the sound is the audio, call it the audio sweetening part is usually the last thing you do, because every time you remove the video, you have to redo the sound. So,
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, there was so much layers that I didn't want to have a rough cut of the picture and then start cutting the sounds and then realizing, oh, that's not the right pace or anything. So I have to go back to the sounds now and change everything. So yeah, I try to have the pace right for the picture first and then the sounds.
Now, you also, we didn't even talk about this, but there's an effect with we were just talking about the colors. What I thought was really interesting about the film was also that when the sound effects, the sound of the natural sounds that she's listening to that are annoying, right?
Yeah.
Are unbearable, the video is black and white. And when she goes into the ocean and all the sounds disappear basically, and she's calm, all the vibrant colors come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was part of the storytelling.
Absolutely, it was on script, and also I think you can see the aspect ratio changing. So it's we have the letterboxes when she's in the city, and then it's full frame when she's underwater. Just it was just the my way of telling people that when she's diving into the sea, her perspective of the world is changing. She's feel more safe, more relaxed, and it had to go from the sounds to the music as well, because the music is only in the film during the underwater scene,
right,
and not in the city. And but it was all the vocabulary we had to use to tell people that it's a totally different experience when she's in city and when she's underwater. So change of color, sounds, and the music kicks in underwater as well.
Yeah, it's almost like the narrow of the anamorphic lenses that you were using for the effect of the letterbox, right? Where it's like her mind was in a narrow field of perspective, right? Because it
Exactly.
wasn't
Yeah.
really open until she got underwater. And when you're calm, you I mean, she's underwater, but you feel you can breathe better, you can think better, you can feel, you can relax.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome. So tell me a little bit about your background, because you're not just born making movies like this and winning awards, right?
No, no, never. Takes time and experience. Actually, I was really surprised to win because, like I said, it was my first film.
Yeah.
I never did like a narrative short film before, and my background is a bit strange because at first I got into a business school. So I did my first 5 years after high school in a business school where I learned all things that had nothing to do with movies, which is finance, marketing, and everything. And after that, after 5 years and 1 year in advertising, I said, yeah, you know what? I want to change a bit and not do this anymore. So I have to find a way to go into movies because I love this, and I really like to edit as well. I was cutting videos since I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, the best way for me to go into movies would be to go into movie trailers, because movie trailers you can cut, and also it's advertising and film at the same time, which is like a great fit for me because I come from business and communication. So I found a job in London as an assistant. I was, I think, 23 years old or 24. And I stayed there for 3 years. And then after 3 years, I went junior and went freelance as well. And I realized I don't want to do trailers all my life anymore. So I have to go back to something else. And I really like the idea of directing something because, I'm curious in everything in filmmaking, like sound, holding the camera, cutting, talking with like a colorist. And I thought maybe directing would be the best way for me to combine everything together. So I heard about this competition in Nice about like you can shoot on mobile phone, no longer about 5 minutes. So it should be pretty easy to do. And actually, it was a lot of work, but it was a really amazing experience. I realized that I loved, the whole experience from writing to shooting to editing. And yeah, so that's like my first short film, and I was really happy to do it in this condition and learn about freediving as well. It was a sport I discovered like a few months before shooting, and I watched so many videos of it while researching for the film, and I love the universe around it. So yeah, that's pretty much my background.
One of the things that I was looking at your website, and it actually mentions that you were in LA and New York, right?
Yes, actually, yes. When I was how old I was 21, so I studied for 1 year with my business school. I studied 1 year in the US at it's called Millikin University. It's in Decatur, Illinois,
Ah,
small town. And I stayed there for 1 year, and after that, I had the chance to do an internship in the US. So I searched for one, and my family, some of our family is living in LA at the time. Now they are in New York, but at the time they were in LA, and I tried to find an internship there, and I found an internship in a small organization. It's like a, I, I think it was like a called the Green Film Festival, something like that, like about uh, you know, environmental films, something like that. So I did that as an editor for like a few months before going back to France. And also before going to London, I did an internship in New York for 3 months with an agency specialized in trailers. So just it was really a small internship because I just went there for one day every week and just watching what they're doing. And sometimes I would go with the director on sets to see how they work because they were doing both trailers and making of featurettes. So I had a chance to
oh,
see that and experience it. And I loved it. And after that, I went back to France and started searching something in London.
so you've been
Mhm.
around.
I've been around, yeah, but just mostly in the US and then London, yeah. But it was really absolutely incredible experience to travel a bit in the US when I was younger, because I'm still 28 now.
Yeah.
um,
Well, there
yeah, I
had to
guess
be
I'm.
something though, right? That helped you go from business, that something that called to you about storytelling or filmmaking or something, right? That moved you
Yeah,
to make that drastic change.
yeah. Well, for a very long time, I thought, when I was 18, I had to choose where I'm gonna study now, and I thought business school was better because, if you want to go into movies, I thought at the time that you had to be in Hollywood, know people there, and just like make films because of that. So I didn't feel like I could do this when I was 18. I thought that's just like something you can only do when you are in the US and have people working there. So I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna go like a business school because I'm really curious about everything. And in business school, you can learn about a lot of different aspects of a business. And I thought maybe going to film school would be a bit too narrow for me because I could only learn about maybe the filmmaking process. But I think when you go into movies, it's an art first, and then also it's a business. So it can make sense to start in a business school and then move to filmmaking because you have to deal with people to produce your film,
Right.
pitching, and these things you can do in business school. So I think to sell yourself and just uh, uh, be better at pitching and holding your finance, for your film, like holding budget,
Right.
it can be useful to go to business school. There's no there's no, I think, perfect school for filmmaking. Filmmaking is so much things at the same time. It's I think there's no right way to do this. So I guess I'm pretty. At the time, I thought maybe it was a bad choice for me to go to business school, but now I realize how valuable it was to go there. I think I learned a lot of things.
Yeah, everything. I mean, everything is connected to. I mean, filmmaking is an industry, and it's a business, and in the end, the film is what's really unique about film is that it's a work of art, right? That includes
Yeah.
audio, sound, and, even there's some psychology, like we were just talking about black and white going into color and all that. There's perceptions and feelings, and there's a lot of power in filmmaking and controlling what your viewers are experiencing during
Mhm.
the process. And when you're thinking about business and marketing and advertising, it's very connected to that, and there's a bit of a similarity to that. Like, for example, if you're making commercials, right, in advertising,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Mm.
yeah, and
Yeah.
in a very short period of time, you're trying to evoke something in your viewer so that they buy something, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Same for trailers. You try to captivate the audience in 30 seconds, 2 minutes, and to try to make them buy the thing you're promoting. Um, I think, yeah, I think also going into trailers was a really, really, really good move because it's such a good way of understanding how editing works and how tell a story. Because basically you're seeing so many movies every day and you have to literally just analyze them. So basically, when I'm doing a trailer for a client, I usually watch a movie 3 times.
Mm.
So the first time as a regular audience, second time with only the dialogue and no picture, and then the third time with picture but no dialogue. And that way you can really analyze every shot, every sound, every line of dialogue. And it's a really good way of understanding filmmaking. And also, I think in telling a story in 2 minutes or 30 seconds or 10 seconds, it's a really good way to, be concise in your editing and knowing, okay, I can get rid of this shot, I can get rid of this line of dialogue that's not useful story. A good thing, I think, to learn trailers. Like, if you can, I would recommend everyone to just watch a movie they like and just analyze it and make a trailer, because you can really understand how storytelling works that way.
Yeah, and I mean, in a lot of trailers that I've seen, the really good trailers, really it's you're not telling the story of the film. You're telling of the story of why you should want to see the story of the film.
Yeah, exactly. I think the best trailers are basically, I'm not trying to tell you the whole story, like accept the 3 act structure and then, oh, it's gonna happen this and then this and then this. It's really giving like the atmosphere of the film
Mm-hmm.
without giving away the plot, basically. And so many trailers today are doing the opposite. They are telling you, oh, there's everything in the story is there, and you can just like be sure it's going to be a good movie, but you don't want to watch it anymore because everything's there already. uh, so yeah, you have really to find a way to give away the atmosphere and the tone, why this movie is special, and not giving away the plot at the same time.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
selling the story, you're selling the film, you're making people. I mean, that's real pitching for a film, right?
Yeah, to do that, I think you have to use your emotional parts. You have to use emotions. You have to use things that people can relate to, I guess. And every time, it's funny because sometimes when I'm watching a movie I really relate to, I'm using my own experience to cut the trailer, because it. I mean, films are like emotional pieces. You can laugh, you can cry, you can, be thrilled by something, and it's always about, I think, for me, relating to this emotion, to this situation in a story. So that's why it's really close to make a film, because you are relating to your own experience to tell the story. And you're doing that when you're cutting a film, when you are directing a film, when you are writing a film. So yeah, I think if someone's curious to try something else to improve their skills as a filmmaker, they should try to make a trailer. It's a really nice practice.
Yeah, some trailers deserve awards. What are your favorite type of trailers? I mean, as far as genre.
Uh, I like drama.
Yeah.
Every time a client gives me like a drama, I like it. Um, you know what's comedy? Uh, yeah, comedies are really hard to sell. Not because they are not good, because it's really good sometimes, and it's really hard to have the tempo right. And comedy is all about the tempo, like the
Mm-hmm.
pace. Is how you give away a joke. If the pace is not good, it won't make people laugh, and it's gonna be bad. So it's really hard to do comedies. I like drama because sometimes you can just use a piece of music and go around it, explore it. And I really love music. Um, and I think to do a good trailer, you also have to have a sense of music. Some people in my industry in London, some people were coming from music first and then to trailers because they know how to cut music in a way that can be still nice to hear. Like it's a new way of. It's I remember, for example, the trailer for what's it called? Oh, the film, like the DC Comics film with like the Joker and Harley Quinn,
Oh,
Squad something.
yeah.
I forgot the name. Damn.
As soon as
uh,
you said I forgot the name, I was just looking to watch that. I haven't watched it yet. I
yeah,
was looking to watch that, but yeah, I know what you mean. They have this pulsing in the trailer of fading in and out of some crazy stuff with the
it
sound
was
too.
a trailer made with music from Queen,
Yeah.
and I saw the timeline for this trailer, and it's amazing how the guy did it because when you watch the trailer, you still enjoy the music. Like the tempo is so right, and there's so many more sound effects to make it even more cooler.
Yeah.
Um, so
Intense.
yeah, intense, and you have to have this sense of rhythm in your trailers.
Hmm.
Like you have to have this sense of rhythm in your films. You have to know, oh, people are going to be bored if I make this shot too long or this dialogue too long. So I think rhythm is everything in trailers and in films.
Yeah, it's our last guest was Jamil Jamil Lawrence, who won the second prize in the film festival,
Yeah, yeah.
and with his film with the dancing and the movements, and we were talking about the marriage in a way between choreography and cinematography, and the camera movements and the performer playing,
Hmm.
and moving to the music, but also towards the camera for the viewer. And I found that
Yes.
conversation so interesting. And what you were just talking about right now sort of buys into that, the fluidity of the movements of when you're composing, which is kind of what you're doing, right? When you're editing something with picture and sound, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's composing picture and sound together. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's just I love this sense of rhythm. Everything. I think the best way of knowing if the editing is really good is to watch a really long film and see if you are bored or not. Like for example, I love the movie called Amadeus
Mm,
from Milos Forman. I don't know if you watch it, but
yeah.
every time I watch this movie, it's like still 3 hours long or something like that. And all the time, I don't see the time like I'm there from beginning to end, and that's I think how editing should be. You have to be there all the time and not watch at some point your phone on your watch. Just
That
I think
that happens to me with
yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh really?
It's like, what? It was only 3.5 hours long or something, but you feel like.
Yeah, to be fair, like 4 hours is like quite long. You have to be a really skilled editor to make it like really intense full for like 4 hours. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
remember Gandhi?
Yeah, Gandhi. I love that film. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very, very long film. I remember watching that. I was very young when I watched that. I watched it in Spain, actually. It was like a rerun, in a small theater. And it was in the
Mhm.
summer. And I think there were maybe 3 people in the theater, middle of the day during the siesta, the nap time. Um,
Yes, yes.
and I remember they had an intermission, and we kind of walked outside and went, should we go back in? I don't like intermissions, in films because of that. Because you almost, depending on the film, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's just like cutting up your
Yeah, I know what you
interrupting,
mean.
yeah, the
Mm.
reality. You're submerged, right?
Yeah.
Into the
Well,
story, and then they pull you out and say, go back.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess for like really long movies, like Ben Hur, for example, it's so long. Like I don't know if I can watch it without interruptions. Maybe I can do. I can do it without
Yeah.
interruptions. But yeah, I know what you mean. You just like go into this story and then they tell you to stop for 5 minutes and go back to the story.
Yeah.
It can be hard sometimes to do that. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Although Gandhi, Gandhi, I think mentally you kind of needed the break, though. It was a little different, but still, it,
Yeah,
it makes you
yeah,
think twice, right?
exactly. Yeah.
What do you see? What is one thing you feel like I have nothing here as far as questions to ask you, but this is based on our conversations, and I'm just
Yeah.
curious. What is the one thing that you learned from this filmmaking, because this was your first film, right?
Yes.
And film festival experience. But what would you say is something that you learned from this that you will take into? Because I'm thinking, you won an award and you're not thinking, well, now I don't need to make movies anymore. I won, and that's it, right? But what would be one
Yeah.
thing that you feel like you can take to your next project?
Well, if you think like that, if you think like, oh, I'm done, I don't won the first prize, and I can, then you should maybe do something else because that's not the point of
Retire.
making. Yeah, retire now. No, what I really learned about this first short film, is that I love it. I love filmmaking. I love directing a film. So for sure, I want to do something else after that. Actually, I wrote my first feature doing this year. I finished it during the lockdown in France.
Ah,
And then I also have another short I want to do at the end of the year, if I can go outside,
yeah.
hopefully. And also, I wrote an animation short film last year that I want to do maybe next year as well, because animation is quite expensive compared to like a live action short film.
Right.
So yeah, I found a studio there in France. It's called 3.0 Studio, and they did, for example, the Red Turtle. I don't know if you watched it. This film, it was nominated for an Oscar, I think, in 2016, something like
Wow.
that. It's really nice studio, and they like the story, so I think I'm gonna do with them the film. But we need more money to do it, obviously. So yeah, I really learned that I love directing a film. I want to do some more after that, and also I was really scared before diving into this film that I wouldn't like the process, and it would be like too horrendous to do it over and over again. And I realized that I had so much fun doing it that when I was shooting, I was always thinking, "Oh, this like sounds so easy, like so fun. I must be doing something wrong because it should be hard. It should be like so difficult to do a film, and I'm having so much fun. Like it shouldn't be that way." So
Well, but it was hard in a way, you
it
had
was
to,
hard, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but the thing is that there are people who thrive in challenges, and they get creative, and being creative to solve a problem, right? When you enjoy challenges is actually pretty fun, and and it brings something to life from inside of us to the surface. You know, trying to stay on the
Yeah.
submerged theme here, um,
Yeah. And you
but
know what? I think like
yeah,
yeah, you're right. You're right. I think every film you do should be a way to learn new things. Like for example, on this film, I knew that I wanted to learn more about freediving. And actually, talking about challenges, initially I thought about there's a DP in Nice. She's called Julie Gauthier, and you can watch her films online if you go to I think Nat Geo put online one of her short films. Basically, she's with a freediver. He's like a world champion. They are both living in Nice and they are doing films together. And she's the director in every film and the DP underwater. And she's
oh.
really, really good. I can send you the names if you want after the podcast.
Yes, we'll put it. We'll put the links on the notes.
And there's nothing like what I did with Submerged, like 100 times like lower quality than what she's doing with her camera underwater. And initially, I wanted to work with her on this film, and unfortunately, she was so busy with some other projects she couldn't do it. And I could have said, okay, she can't do it. I can't go underwater, and I can't do this film, so I'm screwed. Basically, I can't do this film. But maybe I can learn to do freediving and then do it myself. And it would be so much funnier to do that because I don't have to wait for someone else to do it for me. I can just take the camera, pick it up, and do it myself. And that was so fun to do. Like go with Gilles, the other DP on this film, underwater and filming Eva, and it was really a fun experience.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. What did you like about the mobile? What do you see in the future of mobile filmmaking with smartphone cameras?
Um, it's hard to say, but I think it's like when you started to this industry like 40 years ago, it was much harder because you had to rely on really expensive equipment. It was not the same where we are today. We have like phones that can do films. We have a good quality to start to make a film, so it's going to become easier and easier for people to make their first film. I'm not sure if the mobile films will replace, film shot on Alexas or Arri Alexa or anything like that. I'm not sure, but there's certainly like a wave, like the new wave in France, like in the past, just like a new way of doing films. For example, there's a director in France. He's called Claude Lelouch, and he did, for example, A Man and a Woman, which won like a Academy Award in the 70s, I think, or 60s.
Yes,
Um,
I know who you're
and
talking about.
yeah, and this guy is like so incredible because I met him like a few months ago. He was very neat to open the studios there, and he was planning to do his next film only on mobile phone, for
Yeah.
example. And he said to me like, he said to us, I love phones because I was dreaming about phones even before they started to make them. Because back then you had to use like a really heavy equipment, really expensive. It was like a nightmare to move the camera around and try new compositions. And now with phones, you can do that like just like this. And for him, it was like a dream come true, literally, to have a phone. So I think he's doing his next movie on the phone, and I'm pretty sure he's going to continue after that. I'm not sure if it's gonna replace the movies we have right now in the cinemas, but I'm sure it's gonna be like more and more important, and more filmmakers, even like the big names in the industry, will continue to make films on phones.
I think in the end, what should come out of this and what it does is give more importance to the stories, and instead of what you shoot it with, so that there are more opportunities for really good stories to get out there, which is what people are craving in the cinema. A while back, I mean, I'm sure you know the history of our film festival, but way back in 2013, there was a film that I brought into a theater 60-foot cinema screen, shot with an iPhone 4S. I have to admit that it looked better than films that were shot with traditional cameras in many ways, just because of the way that the filmmaker took so much care to make it cinematic. He then
Yes.
brought the film into Adobe After Effects and did some special effects and colorizing, and the sound was very well done. It wasn't shot with the phone, it was done externally. There was a baseball bat that falls on the floor, and the sound of that was epic. It was just so well done. And it really made everybody go, wow. And that film was 1 minute long.
Yeah.
And there were other films there that were traditional independent films that were shot. They were short, but I mean they were, some of them were like, I think they were like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it was, and they were good, you know what I mean, but they didn't have that epic, impressive, cinematic look and feel aesthetically on the big screen. And it surprised me even, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, it really emphasizes that what people really like about films is, that it brings you into the storyteller's world. Like
Yeah.
if you could control your dream, right? The story in your dreams, and then bring people inside your own dreams, right? To share that with you.
Yeah.
And then when they come out, you say, hey, wasn't that cool? What did you get out of that? Did you feel this and that? And how does that experience change your perspective in the world, even that you live in, and your own experiences and everything? I think that's what the power of filmmaking is. And I think that really what mobile filmmaking is doing is giving that powerful tool to anyone who has a phone, right, to be able to do that if they choose to and are willing
Yeah.
to work to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I think people can decide one day to do a film with a phone, if story to tell. Sometimes I hear filmmakers saying to younger filmmakers, "Oh, you can shoot your next film this weekend. That's fine. You can just take a phone and do it." It's kind of halfway true, because first you have to have a story, and if you don't
Yep.
have any story to tell, then you have nothing to do this weekend. You just have to think about a story, write it, and then shoot it. You can do whenever you want your next film, but first and foremost, you have to have your story. And if you have a story to tell that is to you, that is important, I think people will listen for sure.
And you have to have
So
a
yeah,
vision. You have to have a vision of your story and how that's going to play out, so that you can actually. It's like if you want to create a figurine out of clay, right? A figure.
yeah,
You almost have to
yeah,
see it while you're molding that and forming it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. I think you have to have a clear idea of what you want, but at the same time, you have to be open for new ideas, because filmmaking is like collaboration, and you can't just say, "Oh, I've got everything in my head. It's just like perfect the way it is." Because sometimes, even on set during filming with Submerged, I remember I had this idea for a scene, and Eva told me, "Oh, I'm not sure it's gonna work for me. I can try," but then she tried and it didn't work. And she said, I can try that and that and that." She said, "Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, let's try it." And she did it. It was perfect. So I think, yeah, it's true. You have to have a clear idea of what you want in your head, but sometimes you have to be open for new ideas to come up, because sometimes people will give you like even better idea than what you have already in mind.
True, and you also have to know how to communicate it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Explaining things is like really important for a director to explain your idea,
You could try to explain it to people, but I think in the end, the director, people trust them, the people that they work with. Sometimes the director can't communicate everything, they're not perfect.
yeah.
But if you have a team that trusts that you know what you're doing or that you are able to put that together somehow with your vision, that also works too. I think, like you said, collaboration is a big deal.
It's a huge deal because it's like the only one of the few arts where you have to collaborate with a lot of people to make it happen. And you can do, I guess you can do a film by yourself, but it won't be as good as a film you did like with a team of people because they have all their skills. And I think, like in a business, for example, like in a business, when you want to be the CEO of the business, you have to be surrounded by people who are better than you. You have to be surrounded with people who are skilled in what they're doing and way better at what they're doing than you. And I think it's the same thing for film. I think if you are a director, of course you have to know about everything, but you have to find people who are way better at every part of the process. Like, if you are looking for a DP, you have to look for a DP who is obviously better with you than you with the camera. That doesn't mean that you have to abandon the idea of operating the camera yourself at some point, but just to be surrounded with people who are really skilled and, of course, like you said, trust you in your vision, in your story.
Yeah, there's a combination, and that's where the magic of filmmaking comes in. It's the connection between everyone in the team. The lighting people, the sound people. You're trusting them to pull this through, and sometimes it'll surprise you. They'll say, we did it. We're not sure what you want, and the director also has to trust the team. And understand that sometimes you may see what you want, but they may be able to pull something off way better than what you think. When it comes to storytelling, you did a really really great job in your film Submerged, and I'm looking forward to seeing your next films.
No, thank you so much. Yeah. I look forward to do the next thing as well when I'm not in lockdown. But yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Are you? Well, I'll tell you what. Next time you're in San Diego, you're definitely getting some tacos.
Oh yes. You know what? I've been to San Diego before. I went there when I was, I think, 18 or 19. I loved it. That's so good.
Yeah.
So good. And I think we went to LA like for a weekend after that, and I felt, oh yeah, San Diego is way better than LA. Like so nice, so cool.
Yeah, one thing I used to say about LA is like it's always cloudy here, when you go closer to downtown because of the smog and everything. But the funny thing is now with the COVID, 19, the lockdown and everything, not many people have been driving, and the smog has been like they're saying, the skies are clear and everything is better. So it's kind of nice. So you'll have to come before we get it all smogged up again.
I promise you, next time I'm in the US on the West Coast, I'll let you know and we'll get some tacos.
That's right. We have the best here. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Oh yeah, I won't. Don't worry. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you think that you would like to mention that we may have not touched on?
For example, yeah, I think with this COVID-19 crisis, I think good things will come up after that because I think people will realize that you can work remotely and not only work with people around you. Like for example, for Submerged, this first film that I had, I didn't do it with people around me in Nice. I did it with like a sound mixer who is living in Paris. The colorist, she's living in New York, and the composer, he's living in LA. So I think now we have to enjoy the opportunity of working remotely with people. Obviously, you can't work remotely with actors, but with editors, composers, mixers, colorists, you can do that remotely from anywhere. So if you really love the work of someone who is living, like for example, in Chile or China, just
Mm-hmm.
like send them an email and just do it with them, because I think it's like an amazing way to do things now. You can do it with people all around the world and not only in your town.
Yeah, that's thanks to the internet, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like a huge deal, and it's gonna be, but it's gonna brings us better stories for sure after all this.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing that we missed out in having the film festival as a live event this year, because every year people come together and they meet each other, and sometimes they get to work on things together, even though they live in different countries or in different parts of the world. And some of the filmmakers from San Diego have come to the film festival and met other filmmakers from San Diego that they've never met before, even.
Hmm.
So I think it's really interesting how well people, and I don't I think it's basically, I love filmmakers. They don't have to be mobile filmmakers. you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
I'm in love with the filmmakers. It's one of the reasons why I did this, was to help realize the dreams of everybody on crew and on set, and to make this more available to everybody. But I also, one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that mobile filmmakers are more willing to collaborate no matter where they are in the world, on
Exactly.
projects.
Yeah, exactly,
And,
exactly. For yeah, for example, like last year, it was my first time in Cannes. I'd never been to the festival before, and I went for like 3 days. And I remember I went to a master class. It was the editor of Pablo Larraín. And I remember thinking, oh, this guy is so amazing, but he's living in Chile. And I thought, oh, it'd be so great if I'm doing one day like a feature film, to like just send me an email and maybe try to do it with him, because that's so a nice guy, such a talented editor. So yeah, you can meet people in your town and do it together. But that's what I did with Fabien, the sound engineer. He's like amazing. He's living in Nice. I can actually live in Cannes. But yeah, you're never alone now with filmmaking. Like if you want to find fellow filmmakers, you can find them online anywhere they are in the world. So I think it's like a huge opportunity, because sometimes you can feel like isolated if you're living in a small town in a country and you think, oh, there's no filmmakers around me. Well, first, I think now with the festivals, you can have like a lot of filmmakers around you if you look a bit more. And also online, you have to be open minded and think, okay, this guy in New York that I love, I can send him an email and ask him to do it with me if he wants to. That's what I did with the composer on this film, Gavin Brevik, who is really talented. And I sent him an email because I saw one of his short films online on Vimeo,
yeah,
and he replied saying, "Yeah, I would love to do it, man, but for sure." So,
that is
yeah,
so awesome. That is just so
yeah,
awesome. I love stories like that, because most people are
yeah,
pretty awesome, and you just reach out to them, and talk to them, and they're so willing to work with you. That is so cool. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. And Gavin also is a really nice composer. So if you're looking for someone, just I'll send you a link. A
Awesome.
bit of advertising as well.
Yeah, no, it's a really, there's so many good things happening in the world when it comes to, and that is the whole key to me. It's all about connection and connecting, and I think, once you connect with somebody, you're sharing stories, whether it's a personal story or an experience, or even things that you can learn. That someone says, I screwed up this thing, and you know what I learned about it, and now you don't have to screw it up.
Yeah, that's true.
so so
Yeah.
anyways, so what would be one piece of advice that you would like to say to inspire the filmmakers out there, so that they can make a short film or a feature film with their phone? um, what would be one message they could take from you?
Um, well, I would say first that you need to find a story that is important to you, that you really are burning to tell it. That's the first step. And if you don't have this story yet, that's fine. Just like enjoy life, explore new things, try new things. And so there you have this story in mind. Just yeah, you can do it anytime you want. Just write it. Use it as a regular process of doing a film. Write it, shot it, edit it. Surround yourself with people you like and you enjoy working with, and talented also, obviously, if you think they're talented. And at the end, enjoy the process and learn to adapt along the way. You can't do filmmaking if you can't adapt. I always say, like, filmmaking is like survival. If you can't adapt, you will eventually die. So you have to always be ready to do something you were not expecting to do, but actually turns out to be a better option than the initial one you had in mind. So yeah, enjoy the process, and yeah, just enjoy the process, I guess.
Make films, and then you might
And
just
make
win.
films, yeah.
You might just win.
You might just win. Yeah, you might come to San Diego and enjoy tacos with Susie.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'd like to say you're gonna send us some links, and we'll share them with
Yeah,
all our listeners here, and say goodbye to our listeners.
yeah. Goodbye, guys. It's nice to be part of this, and thank you again, Susie, for the opportunity. I really enjoy the conversation.
Oh, me too. Thank you.